Wow, it's a cold one today. I'm out here, I'm doing some tracking, and I want to dedicate this video to my nephews, Sam and Oliver, who are learning some tracking with their father, my brother Nathan. And really cool how you two are out there in your woods and exploring and seeing what you can find with the tracks. All those animals leaving stories right there in the snow. And a day like this is just a beautiful time to go out and see the tracks. There's stories everywhere, written in a special language that all of us can learn to read. Today I'm just going to share a couple little tricks, or well, there's some illusions that we can experience when we're out tracking. And I'm going to take a look at a couple little common mysteries that happen in the winter woods. And hopefully it will add a little bit to everybody's tracking adventures. This one will often fool people. You can see these odd tracks. They're small. They're moving along, and there's not exactly any real distinguishing prints, as in footprints, but something's obviously moving along here. If we follow it, it comes through here. We can see it move along this branch. What do we have? There's our creature. You can see some of the marks it's left. If we'd set it free, the next time a wind blows, it's going to leave these odd tracks as that oak leaf makes its way. One of the most common illusions that we're going to hit is tracks seeming to disappear. Here we have a weasel moving along, and then its tracks seem to disappear and reappear out here. What's happening, of course, is that because of the angle of the sun coming in, these guys just pop out. And this is a beautiful track right here because half of it pops out and half is shaded. This tree, the shadow, is doing the same thing that's going to happen on a very cloudy day or when the sun is directly up above us. Things aren't going to cast shadows in the same way. If you look carefully, there's a track in here. There's no big mystery. It didn't jump from there to there. But that track seems to disappear when you're just focused on what our eyes can easily see. Here's a wonderful example that could really fool people. You can see two prints here, two prints here, two prints here, two prints here. It looks like we have an animal that's bounding in a very regular way, especially if we look at these three. And that's something that could throw people and think, okay, we've got a larger animal, and look at the width of its body, you know, kind of wider, but what's bigger and wider and hops like that? Looks a little bit like weasel marks, but the stride isn't right for the foot size. But if we follow up here a little bit, and we see these, we climb up here, see this track, and now if I can get us into the correct light, you might be able to see, let me come up here, that it's no longer two tracks, but one. So what we have is actually two mice that have come down, and here they separate out in such a way But their tracks can make these two small animals jumping next to each other look like a much larger animal. Here's a fun and strange one. What is this? We step back a little bit. Oh. Wind and a barely hanging branch just at the right height to draw some pictures on the snow. To many people, especially if they've first started tracking, this looks like 1 foot fell here and 1 foot fell here, 1 foot fell there. You got very clean tracks. And when you look up here, it's a little more confusing because there's 2 next to each other. Then just 1, 1, 2. Huh. What's going on? And then back here, we're back to 1 and 1 and 1. What this is called is a direct register. And this animal, in this case a fox, steps directly into its own track. So we're not seeing one print there, but a place where a forefoot, a front foot has fallen, and then the rear foot has fallen. So all we're really seeing here is the rear track, which is impressed upon the front track. Now direct register animals like this fox that really almost always like to step directly in their own track, it doesn't always happen 100% of the time. So you'll be following along and you'll see, oh, it stepped off a little bit here and then went back to its usual direct register pattern. Another interesting thing about the direct register is that what I told you is not actually completely true. Because the trick is, with canids like this fox, the front foot is usually quite a bit larger than the rear foot. So although I said you're only seeing the rear track here, think about it for a moment. If that front foot is larger, then we're seeing the outline of the front foot, the bigger impression, with the smaller hind foot landing in it. So though we say that we're only seeing the rear track, we're actually seeing the rear track enlarged a little bit because that first outline that was put down was the larger front foot. Mice and a big oak leaf that leaves almost bird-like tracks. This one's also in the mix. If we follow it back, it was leaving some strange straight line slides in the snow. Because of the way it was structured, it slid along more than it tumbled head over heels. Here's a fisher moving through the woods. Always a fun one. This is one of their many gates. And a squirrel again displaying the power of shadow, where we have a clear track and a clear track, but the one in between, just one part of it is popping out and the rest is invisible. So the things I'd really like to point out are that the sun, the angle of the sun, has a profound effect on how tracks appear. They can seem to pop out if the sun is at a sharp angle. If the sun's right up above, they can seem to disappear. Also, it's not only animals leaving tracks. Sometimes it's leaves or sticks. feathers. Thanks for watching, and please share any tracking adventures that you've had lately. Love to hear from you in the comments.